Aru. Okay, got it. No. There's no change in the plan. Bye.
And am I supposed to be impressed by this?
Beautiful eyes. Like I heard from my brother before.
And so the enraged Nele in all her wisdom cast Greedy into the purging fires.
Officer, help! I'm being robbed! This hoodlum wanted money, and she pointed a gun right at me.
Cease this at once. Madam Nele, you see, forbids the use of fire in human conflicts.
Who the fuck are you?
Now, be good and hand me the gun.
What you just saw was an elderly white dude speaking English with a strong Japanese accent. And all I gotta ask is how and why? That dude is literally supposed to be a native English speaker. English is supposed to be his goddamn mother tongue.
You have made me very proud, my children of Palikana.
Did they actually hear that delivery and think to themselves, this sounds acceptable, especially considering the fact that we're only going to include this voice track in the Japanese version of the game, which English fans of Yakuza won't play anyway, so who gives a damn? And my response to that is, I give a damn! And I'm pretty sure many Japanese-speaking fans give a damn too. What, you think they can't tell when someone's English sounds really badly pronounced? Because if that's what they thought, they'd be very wrong. English-speaking players can tell that Gary Buster Holmes' Japanese isn't very great. English-speaking fans of the show Breaking Bad could also tell that Gus Fring's Spanish was very bad.
Señores, bienvenidos. Gracias por venir. ¿Algún problema cruzando?
El día que no pueda cruzar la frontera es el día que me retiro.
Por favor, pasen. Siento que no sea accesible así.
My point is that it doesn't matter if you can't speak or understand a language. If you're familiar with its sounds and general cadence, you'll be able to tell the difference between a native speaker and a really bad non-native speaker. And emphasis on really bad non-native speaker. And I don't think Japanese people are completely unfamiliar with the sounds of English. So the question we must then ask ourselves is, why again? Okay, I need to calm down. I haven't even talked about what the purpose or main idea of this video is. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit. Let me give you an actual introduction. Did you know that there are some characters who speak English in the very, very Japanese series that is Yakuza / Like a Dragon? Some who are supposedly native speakers, and some who are very clearly not native speakers. When those who are not native speakers attempt to speak English, and are specifically of East Asian origin, they often speak a mangled version of the language. A lot of people like to call it Engrish. Yes, that's the name given to the English that East Asians often speak. English spelt with an R instead of an L. Why? Because Japanese doesn't have an L sound, so Japanese people often pronounce English words that have the letter L as if those words had an R instead. Hence, Engrish. Now, English appears so frequently throughout the Yakuza series that I often wonder why this is the case. Why do characters who are supposedly supposed to know how to speak English fluently speak it with the thickest accent possible? Well, the answer to that question is obvious. It's because the voice actors who play these characters clearly aren't fluent in English. I don't think they even understand the English they're reading when they act those lines. Not too dissimilar to Giancarlo Esposito, who very clearly can't understand the Spanish he is speaking when playing Gus Fring.
No lo conozco por ese nombre, pero sí, nunca he escondido que siempre y conduce negocios con ciertos proveedores.
Y usted y yo todavía ganamos dinero juntos.
Nunca ha afectado.
So we know that the voice actors can't speak English fluently, or even decently. So the question we must then ask is this: why don't the developers just hire voice actors who are actually bilingual in Japanese and English, or in English and Spanish? And that right there is a question that leaves us without answers, unless we do an investigation. An investigation into the prevalence of English in Japanese culture, like the Yakuza games, and the very unique examples of English and regular-ass English in this series. Maybe we'll figure something out in the end, so we might as well just do that. So, you know how sometimes you can find a t-shirt in a clothing store with broken and or nonsensical Japanese or Chinese written on it?
The host shirt says 最爱性交, which literally means my favorite is sexual course. This lady is posing confidently with the character Z on her chest. Z means chicken, but it's also a slang for sex work.
Yeah, the Japanese have their own version of that. But with English, in some Japanese clothing stores, you can find t-shirts with nonsensical, meaningless English written on them. And just like how we do it because we like the aesthetic of Japanese alphabetical characters, the Japanese make t-shirts like that because they like the aesthetic of English/Latin words and letters. Just like us, they don't care about whether or not these t-shirts have anything meaningful or decipherable on them. They just like the vibe. So what's the point of me telling you all of this? Well, first off, be patient and just let me cook. I'm getting to that. Second off, there's a reason why Japanese people like the aesthetic of English words and letters. I'm going to let this citation from a research paper inadvertently answer that question. After examining from a variety of sources in the public Japanese discourse on our data, we noticed 3 prevailing attitudes towards English use in Japan. English as an assumed necessity, English as unnecessary and overvalued, and English as a marker of general communication ability and intelligence. So, Japanese people tend to think other Japanese people who can speak English are on the smarter side of the intelligence spectrum. So, with those 2 factors in mind, I guess we can kind of understand why there's quite a bit of English in the Yakuza series. Most of the Japanese characters who can speak English are perceivably the nerdy computer smart types. Mine in Yakuza 3 was a successful, wealthy venture capitalist, someone with supposedly very good business acumen, and that would be someone who's generally perceived as smart, right? So to a Japanese audience, it probably doesn't surprise them that Mine can supposedly speak English. Here's the problem with that assessment though. His English is very clearly bad. And yeah, we can mainly blame that on his voice actor. If it weren't for the fact that his voice actor is very clearly not fluent or even a decent English speaker, in actuality, he would sound like Ken Watanabe when he speaks English.
In the mountain house right now, and then 2 hours driving from Tokyo, and really quiet, and then it's feel like a boring daytime and then a daily life.
Now, I'll say this again. They could have gotten a bilingual voice actor to voice Mine instead of making Shido Nakamura II suffer through speaking English, which is clearly a language he struggles in. But yeah, I guess RGG thought their Japanese audience wouldn't care, so why even try? Another Yakuza character who is supposedly supposed to speak English fluently is Eiji Mitamura, who makes his first appearance in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. He's a computer nerd and presumably worked in Hawaii before. His English is also bad because of his voice actor.
How the officer? Huh? That man is not safe.
Bon Voyage no Nii-chan?
Who you should be arresting is the driver. She's real safe. And if you need proof, I recorded the whole thing.
I guess you could say it kind of makes sense for his English to be bad because the character is modeled after the voice actor. Wait, no, that actually does not make sense, because they could have done that with a famous Japanese actor who's bilingual. And ladies and gentlemen, that wasn't even the most egregious example. The most egregious example is the next one, and he is supposed to be a literal native speaker of English. And that character is Bryce Fairchild, the old white dude you saw at the beginning of this video. Now, this doesn't need any elaboration from me. Regarding how bad it is, it kind of speaks for itself.
Good gracious, a miracle!
Rejoice, for Madame Nelly has extended her divine protection to you and your humble establishment.
Madam Nelly, mahalo ioi.
Fear not, my child. No evil can withstand a Hack warrior's spirits. What we should do now is pray. Let us beseech Madame Nelly to envelop them swiftly and painlessly.
That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is in a video game that many would call AAA. A game with pristinely animated cutscenes, with stellar cinematography, and a sprawling turn-based RPG that takes place in an almost photorealistic recreation of Honolulu, Hawaii. And yet somehow this made it in the end product. An elderly white American man speaking English with an exceptionally strong Japanese accent. Side note, after doing a little bit of research, I actually found a video called Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Meeting Bryce Fairchild, English and Japanese combined, Bryce's broken English fixed. And the contents of the video itself are exactly that. It literally fixes the very issue I've been complaining about.
Huh? What's wrong? Goddamn trigger's stuck. Shit!
Cease this at once. Madame Nelly, you see, forbids the use of fire in human conflicts.
Who the fuck are you?
Now, be good and hand me the gun. Attempting to shoot will only make things worse for you.
Get the hell away from me! What did you just do?
Such a pity. Allow me to tend to your wounds.
Get the fuck away! He's a monster! I swear he's a goddamn monster! That had to be a miracle. And I got to bear witness. Bryce truly is blessed by the goddess.
Bryce-sama?
The sage of Palikana I mentioned. That's Bryce Fairchild himself.
あれが
A miracle. Good gracious, a miracle.
Rejoice, for Madame Nelly has extended her divine protection to you and your establishment.
Madam Nelly, mahalo ioi.
And first off, it was done by one person, who I assume is a fan of the series. And second off, all it took was simply combining the Japanese and the English voice tracks. How in the hell could one person do what a whole-ass video game development studio failed to do? Shout out to iSoldier16. He's the guy that made the video. Now, what's the takeaway from this? I don't know, man. This series is fucking confusing. Or rather, shall I say, media is fucking confusing because this isn't a Yakuza-specific thing or even a Japanese-specific thing. I mentioned Breaking Bad, which is an American example. So, yeah, there's that. Problems that could have easily been avoided are in these otherwise brilliant pieces of art/media. Make it make sense, man! And you want to know what makes this even worse? They don't only do this with English in the Yakuza series. They do it with Mandarin too.
Chen 先生 J 我哭人是日本人你不在意用日本语吧
I don't understand a word you just said.
You want to know something interesting? There's regular-ass English in the Yakuza series. Yeah, there are characters in the Yakuza series who are native speakers of English and actually speak it fluently with the accents you expect them to have. The only problem is that every line from their voice actors sounds like the most half-assed delivery they could have possibly done. I mean, listen to this.
Looks like you're a little late. You just missed him. If I'd known it would have come to this, I'd have killed you when first we met.
なんだと
If you're looking for Daigo, Mine's taken him up to the roof.
そうか。屋上に行くにはあんたを倒してからにしろと。
You're welcome to try. This is the end of the line for you, Kazuma Kiryu.
It sounds like something you'd hear in a straight-to-DVD B-horror movie from '05. At least it has comedic value. Furthermore, every English line from NPCs in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth also sounds really half-assed.
It's gotta be worth at least 70.
$50, take it or leave it. I doubt someone else would even give you the time of day.
Oh, fine, tight ass.
I don't recognize you. Did you come from the mainland?
Yeah, out here a guy like me won't die of exposure. There's work here, too. At least that's what I heard.
Hey, handsome.
But yeah, I really don't know what I'm trying to say with this video. I hope it was an interesting ride nonetheless. I guess the main message would be, have better quality control, RGG and Sega.